Thanks very much for tuning in. So as you can see from the thumbnail, unfortunately I lost the battle against the raccoons. So they didn't rip everything down, that was me. But what we did have is there were some corns, and you can see, for example, this one. So in the last video I thought the corn had fell during wind because they were, I don't want to say lightly rooted, but they were shallow. I thought that was why, but turns out it was raccoons, and my cameras were not catching it. So I've got a couple of security cameras, one kind of watching this area, and then another one, as you can see, on top of the door, just watching the general area. So I get a pretty good view. So unfortunately didn't really catch them in time. One night I did catch one. It was right here. I could see its eyes on the camera, and unfortunately got quite a few big airplanes flying over today. So it was lying in this area, not even lying, sorry, standing, ready to do its work. I came out to chase it. It ran all the way across, ran up, and I sprayed it on its way across my neighbor's fence. But by that point it was too late. Not only that, it was too late for my corn overall, because once it started getting sweet, the raccoon knew to come back, and it was just taking it before I even knew it was sweet. So problem is with corn, you really want to wait as much as possible. Raccoons will get it before then. So unfortunately no corn this year. My wife did eat what we could out of there. It wasn't the best corn, but yeah, so that's the sweet corn. I'm not going to plant corn next year, but maybe the year after that I will do what we call the sticky corn. So it's not really sweet, it's like a glutinous corn, and the family loves that. So maybe I'll try that in 2 years time, but definitely next year no corn. I'm going to see what I can get to grow with the beans and with the squash. I'm not going to do cantaloupe down here. I'll do that on the balcony next year, and the reason behind it is because the raccoon knew that I had cantaloupe growing as well, so then it decided it wanted the cantaloupe as well. So yeah, overall not so great, but now I've got plenty of space here. I am going to plant some daikon. I know it's late in the season, but I'll get quite a few small daikons, if anything, hopefully. So just waiting for that to be sorted, and just harvesting everything. So I do need to do a bit of a cleanup here. Too many leaves, but we're getting quite a few of the lemon cucumbers, so they seem to be coming through in the late season, and not really getting so much of the cucamelons. So the what do they call it, the sour melon, sorry, sour cucumber. But yeah, next year I'll be putting that over there, because again, pickles here weren't doing so great this year. So yeah, maybe give up on these pickles next year and grow salt and pepper pickles, the lemon cucumbers, and the small sour ones, because as you can see from the leaves, the foliage that's there, it is a great cover crop in terms of covering this. So I wanted to do that, and I just realized I've got a huge cucumber here to harvest, so I'll pick that. That's the one problem with growing on this fence. Sometimes it goes behind and you don't see it. This is the bag that I've been getting all of the waste in. So I cleaned up just now all of the corn. I just threw it there because the family was here, didn't have time to do anything, and really I was defeated at that point. So I just left it, and yesterday and today I've had time to go ahead and start working on it. So I've done some work on the garden. I did get my first harvest of tomatillos the other day, and I'm not really getting too many at the moment. So as you can see, they're not really filling out right now. This one's kind of full. I don't know if you can see that one, but not really getting them filling out right now, but hopefully I'll start getting a few more, and I will be making some salsa verde, or some the family calls it guacamole, but it's not, it's just creamy salsa verde. It's with avocado. Got quite a few pickles, so we continue to harvest those. The pickles have been very good later in the season. The salt and pepper, sorry, cucumbers, the salt and pepper ones have been very good all throughout, but it looks like the plant's kind of dying back. I need to harvest that. Sorry, not harvest, prune. I also need to prune this guy here, and we're getting quite a few peppers coming through late in the season, so maybe we'll get quite a few peppers as we go through. I'm going to trim this back because I don't want it coming out too far. And yeah, we've had quite a few tomatoes, and again, sorry, you can see the peppers here as well, getting quite a few peppers coming through here. So the peppers might do well in the late season. Tomatoes are coming through pretty well. Again, I need to trim everything down here, but these are pretty heavy, so the branch is leaning over, but we are getting a few tomatoes, which I will go ahead and harvest tonight or tomorrow. And yeah, really, that's about it. I do need to sort out my neighbour's plant that's coming over. I will trim that back, otherwise it will take over everything from my side here, so I'll trim that back. I know in the previous years it's been a bit of a pain, so they've got lots of it growing, so we'll sort that out. Got lots of celery, so I will be harvesting the celery. I will use the celery in I think this is leaning over. I will use it for a soup, so I'll likely do a cream of celery soup, and I've got some on the balcony as well, so I should be able to do a big batch with that. I will be harvesting the lemongrass and dehydrating it, so lemongrass will go into the dehydrator. I've already done it with the sage, but there's so much of it, I might do another batch. And then all of the onions, as you can see here, I think the squirrels are digging them up, so it's fine, just let them dry out here. The squirrels won't bother with them. And then I've got lots of beans here, which I'm just going to let go to seed because I want to grow these again next year, grow them properly. But I've got quite a few beans from this plant today, but as you can see, there's a lot more growing, so that's why I've left these. Oh, I've got even more here, so you can see how big they are compared to my hand. Yeah, I just need to harvest those, so I guess it's beans for dinner tonight. Yeah, that's essentially everything so far. I have been disappointed with the artichoke, but because it's the first year, I'm going to see if I can overwinter it and do what I need to from there. And lastly, I did harvest potatoes, so again, this will be used for daikon. I'll be putting some seeds in there. I haven't done that already, I should have done, but essentially just going to put some daikon in there, and likely going to do some peas for the late season here. Should get a good little harvest out of those. Okay, so quickly onto the side of the house, because the one thing that I'm kind of confused about is the fact that we actually still have popcorn here. So the one thing I'm not sure is, this is in a public area, this is open. The raccoon went into my garden to get corn, but it hasn't touched this. Is it purely because it's not sweet smelling? If so, I can grow dank corn all day long and not have any worries, but we'll have to see. But one thing I want to show is how tall these sunflowers are. So kind of getting to the midpoint of my house, so yeah, I'm pretty impressed with those. I will be saving some seeds from them, so I've got this guy. He's not the biggest, but I'll be definitely using that for sunflower oil. But these guys, the big guys, whichever one's the biggest, I will be saving, so it's more than likely going to be this one. I'll be saving that for seed because I want the best and the strongest, right? So I do have a couple of little ones, and I cannot see where they are right now. So the likes of this one, it's going to flower, and I think I've got one over here that's going to flower. So I'm going to give those to people who want them, and then going to harvest these popcorns when they're ready. So maybe just let them dry out because on the cob, on the plant, because really nothing's touching them. I don't care too much, and then later on we can use it for popcorn. So that's everything out here. Let's go to the balcony. Okay, so welcome out to the balcony. So first thing you can see is I've fertilized here twice. So as you can see, it looks a lot better than it was previously. So I'm thinking it was just a deficiency, but only time will tell. As you can see, all the leaves here are looking pretty good. So I actually fertilized this morning, so hopefully that's the end of the problem. We do have a lot of the ground cherries that have fallen, so basically going to have my son pick those up. Haven't really been using the mint much this year, which I'm disappointed with, but will look to use it again when I can. Again, do have celery. Celery's doing great, but going to harvest that out and try some soup with it. Parsley is doing amazing as it is downstairs. The watermelons are doing very well. So we did harvest one, and apologies, we've got another plane flying overhead. So I did harvest one, and that was the big one that was down here. And the reason why I did that is because my niece, and this one looks like it's ready actually. I think the plant either died or it's ready. As you can see, it's withered away, so I'm gonna pull that off. So my niece likes watermelon, so I wanted to try the baby watermelon, see what she thought of it. They enjoyed it. It wasn't as sweet as I wanted it to be, but it wasn't like that plant where it was dying back. It was actually still pretty green. So little tiny baby watermelon from here. I might try and grow big watermelons, actually get watermelon seeds for next year, but we will see if I can do that. Jalapenos have been doing well, so I harvested some of those last week. The plants started leaning over again, so I'm not even going to try and fight that. It is showing the roots though, unfortunately, so what I will try and do is at the end of the year fix it, so when I'm putting it into storage. We are starting to get a couple of zucchinis up here, as well as zucchinis in the back, and I've started to push the peanuts over in anticipation for them to start rooting for the peanuts. And this guy's still alive, so very happy with how everything's been going up here this year. I will continue the work next year, and hopefully, you know, live and learn as you can. And yeah, I think I'll go bigger and better. So cantaloupe up here next year, watermelon up here next year on the vines, because the vines, on the trellis, because the trellis itself hasn't really been utilized. So I'll look to do that, and then do something similar at the front with the cover crops. Maybe not as much as I did this year, because I think it's really trying to get all the nutrients it can, and it doesn't have the space. So yeah, that's everything for this week. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll speak to you soon.